What's a myth most people believe is still true? Albert Einstein never failed math in school. He mastered differential and integral calculus by age 14 and consistently received top grades in all his math and science classes. You know who did fail math? M.C. Escher. All those math teachers who talk about how he used mathematic equations to complete his work is completely untrue. He just had impeccable hand-eye coordination and a damn good sense of spatial awareness. I just figured he tripped down a flight of stairs and sprouted an idea from it. He tripped up a flight of stairs, apparently. Goldfish have a short memory. They can actually have a memory span for up to 5 months. Yeah, it's their attention spans that are short. What? Did you say something about goldfish? The snack that smiles back. Mice love cheese. Mice will eat anything they can find with nutritional value, but they don't even like cheese really. They'd rather eat fruit or candy. Whenever I had to set a mouse trap, cheese never worked. You know what did without fail? Peanut butter. Little pests love that stuff. Yep. But I had to stop using peanut butter because I kept catching myself in the traps. The thing is, in the olden days, milk and cheese were always left out on the table, and the mice ate whatever they could find. Cheese was the one that they could see was consumed. That's how it started. I went on holiday once and came back to discover that mice had been in the house. They decided that what they wanted to nibble on was a couple of cupcakes shaped soaps. Mice aren't as smart as they want you to think, lol. That a woman found a finger in her Wendy's chili. She later pled guilty and was sent to jail cause it was all faked. The same happened in my country, except it was a real finger and people believed it was fake, lol. The same thing happened in my country, except it was a chicken finger and people believed it was real. So they continued eating the meal they ordered. Madness. According to aerodynamics, the bee shouldn't be able to fly. The correct phrase is humans don't know how insect wings generate as much lift as they do, which was true until it stopped being true. Even that is overselling it to some degree. People were all but certain it was a result of transient effects from the wings flapping for a long time before it was successfully simulated. Yeah. I think there were some final details still being figured out in the early 2000s, but the basics were fairly well understood for the entire lifetimes of just about everyone alive today. I think you'd have to go back to the pre-jet era for even that statement to be true. It's probably just a thing that got said a lot in 60s and morphed into the myth, while simultaneously being more and more obsolete. Marilyn Manson removed his ribs to give himself blowjobs. I don't know how that one traveled so fast without the internet. Even in my elementary school in southeast Mexico had that one. Same. Somehow it reached a small village in interior Portugal too. Southeast England here I heard it. This even reached Iran. Up until a few months ago, I still believed that if someone was HIV positive they could essentially develop full-blown AIDS at any moment without warning. And any bodily fluid could pass the virus on to someone else, so it would be very dangerous to even so much as share a toothbrush with them. That's what I was taught as a kid by parents and teachers, so it's what I believed. The concept of someone taking a pill until the virus becomes undetectable in their system blew my mind. Oh wow. Medicine is F-rad. I didn't know this. I was raised the same way and had the same kind of worry on the back of my mind. Totally. HIV is no longer any more than an inconvenience if you live in the first world. MSG being the devil when it comes to food. MSG assaults sexy older sister. Didn't he just propose to Megan Fox? I laughed so hard I woke up my wife. God, and that was unexpectedly funny. That blood is blue unless it's exposed to oxygen then turns red. There is a color difference, which is probably why this myth has so much traction. But it's always red in humans. It's just brighter or darker based on the amount of oxygen. A kind of fun fact is that some medical conditions or drug side effects can cause significant differences in blood color. For example, sulfhemoglobinemia causing a strong green tint to the blood. I used to work in a hospital lab. One time a guy gave us a sample for his UA and the sample was bright green. Like Hulk smash green. Turned out he was on a crazy antibiotic which caused this reaction. but it's something that I'll never ever forget. Whatever you do, don't make him angry. You wouldn't like him when he's angry. That Bulls doesn't like the color red, and they're actually very careful in a china shop. Mythbusters set one up in a bullpen and let them run around. Barely anything got knocked down. The old TV show You're on Candid Camera had a episode where they newly hired person working in china shop. They let a bull in. Mary Antoinette never said to let them eat cake. She's also responsible for modern day cottagecore. Cottagecore, I'd never heard the term, so I looked it up. Disappointed that it wasn't an obscure genre of metal. I just want to live in a cabin and scream to the birds and the trees and the sunrise in the morning. Why you wouldn't understand. No one understands me. I just want to live in a cabin and scream to the birds and the trees and the sunrise in the morning. I didn't know I wanted this till now. Thank you. Dogs see in black and white and grey, which is not true. They see in yellow, blue, and grey. We can see colors because we have 6 million cone photoreceptor cells, but dogs have 20%, which would roughly be 1/200,000, which in contrast only produces blue and yellow. They have 2 cones in their eyes, which produce only yellow and blue, contrary to humans which have 3 rings that produce red, yellow and blue. The limited color perception dogs have is called dichromatic vision. Even then, they don't really see gray. Much like colorblind people, it's just harder to distinguish colors in that spectrum. For a dog, anything from red to green would essentially be just different shades of yellow/brown colors. We always laugh at my sister's dog when she can't find her etchy toy after we throw it around the lawn for her, even when it's right in front of her. Now it makes sense. Myth: you need to wait 24 hours before reporting a missing person. Truth: no you don't. The sooner you report a missing person, the higher the chances are of them being found alive. TV: you have to wait 24 hours before reporting a missing person. Also TV, the first 24 hours are the most important for finding a missing person. How else are you going to get a developing story if you don't let the kidnappers get a head start? /s. Kidnappers have feelings too. It would be unfair to take away all their fun. Before Columbus, everyone thought the world was flat. That the earth is round has been known for thousands of years, and multiple cultures came to this conclusion independently. Kinda makes flat earthers even more embarrassing. You'd think that ship had already sailed. The best is that Doku, when they prove themselves it's round. https://metro.co. UK/2019/02/27/ Flat Earthers accidentally prove Earth round. Netflix documentary 8,772,206/ Victorian women had ribs removed in order to corset their waist even tinier. There is zero historical evidence for that. Do people even know how risky surgery was in the Victorian era? Germ theory had only become scientifically accepted near the end of the era, and it took longer for the public to accept it. That surgery would pretty much be a death sentence. But people want to reinforce the narrative that old corsets were oppressive and sexist. Bonus: really only high society women would tight lace their corsets for limited periods of time. X. For their wedding or special event. Before 1840s, tight lacing wasn't even possible because eyelets were hand-bound and couldn't put up with the strain. So any media depicting tight lacing before that time are just lying. This is a topic I'm very passionate about. Wow, great answer. You taught me some things. Makes total sense that no one would want to surgically remove ribs. Is there any evidence of other types of body modification, like pushing organs around or shaping/breaking ribs, etc.? How shaving your facial hair makes it grow back thicker. I'm half convinced that this was started by parents who wanted their teenage sons to shave off that scraggly patchy beard. My dad called them chin pubes when I was 12 and thought I was growing a beard. I'm half Arabic and half Latino. I had a full beard by the time I was 14. My friends were jealous, and I was annoyed because I don't like doing the maintenance it needs to not make me look like a terrorist. The myth that we swallow a certain amount of spiders every year. It literally originated from an article about how people will accept anything they read online as fact. Edit. Lol. It seems that even the original article isn't the origin of the myth despite me reading from some publishers that it was. Talk about a double myth. No, it's true. I just exclusively eat enough spiders to balance out the average of all those who don't. Spiders garg. Is that you? It's dangerous to wake a sleepwalker. Yeah. No. Though it's advised not to wake a sleepwalker, as that could make them disoriented and confused. It's not actually dangerous. Some people believe that waking them up could cause a heart attack, which is not true. My ex believed this so wholeheartedly. I was taking Champix to quit smoking, and as a side effect I started sleepwalking. Got out of bed one night bare-necked, and went for a walk around the block. Ex just followed me, just to make sure my next walk was safe. Like, dude. Okay, but he made sure you stayed safe. D. Making more money and going into a higher tax bracket will cause them to lose money overall. So many people have no idea how tax brackets work. So many people don't know what a standard or itemized deduction is either. I had a guy argue with me that he, a single head of household, making 25k a year, paid loads of federal income tax. He sent me the tax bracket and told me that I don't understand. Well, buddy, the bracket is right, but your understanding of how income taxes are actually calculated and paid is a bit suspect. He had over 100 upvotes SMDH. One common myth that many people still believe is true is that if you crack your knuckles, your fingers will become bent. However, this is not true, as cracking your knuckles does not actually cause joint damage. My fingers are already bent. That's what the knuckles are for. I'm just a poor old man. I have no time for lawbreakers. My legs are grey. My ears are gnarled. My eyes are old and bent. Most people still believe that dumb chestnut about how we only use 5% of our brains. I wish more people would use at least 5% of their brain, especially on the highway. 5% is definitely a radical overestimate for the average driver. That dietary fat is the source of body fat. I know most people still think it's true because we still have the low-fat versions of every food that we've had since the 80s. Fat was just the fall guy for Big Sugar. https://www.npr.org/section/09/13/493739074/50 years ago sugar industry quietly paid SC. Intists 2. Blame at fat. Big Sugar is my rap name. Hymen equals virginity. I used to prosecute sex crimes. We had to educate a lot of juries that not only is the hymen not a seal over the V, how TF would virgins menstruate? If this were true, it can grow back and is not necessarily broken by sex. In fact, a 10-year-old girl can be repeatedly raped and have zero physical signs of it. Interesting medical fact, sometimes the hymen does seal over the vagina, resulting in an apparent lack of menstruation and an array of unpleasant symptoms. The condition is called imperforate hymen. It's corrected easily by surgery. Additionally, there are stages in between normal and imperforate, called annular. The opening will be the size of a Q-tip, allowing menstruation to happen normally, but making sex or tampon use extremely painful. Also corrected by surgery. Source: I had one, and didn't know it, until I was 26. That 30 years old were considered to be old in the Middle Ages. The reason that the average generally, since that era was several centuries long and different countries had different circumstances, life expectancy was 30 was because the infant mortality rate was much higher than it was today. If you survived past infancy, you could reasonably expect to live to 60 to 70. That it's illegal to turn on the inside light of a car while driving in the dark. So I still get freaked out when my kids turn the light on at night while I'm driving. For 2 reasons: 1 point. I still somewhat have that belief in my head, along with our small town being overrun with cops that are far too happy to ruin your night for any reason they can. We don't have the best history with them, either. 2. I can't see that great at night, so any light within the car takes away even more vision. I even keep the lights on my dash turned down as low as possible, so I can see better. I do wonder where that rumor began though. Edit. Spelling. It probably started as a way to make sure kids didn't turn on the light in the car at night because of how it makes it harder to see. Shaking a Polaroid picture will help it develop. It actually pushes the developing chemicals to one side, causing over and under development. For those that are wondering. The vomitorium was a place in Roman households where people would puke. It was actually the entrance or exit of amphitheaters and theaters. That the band askreddit made 11 albums that sound exactly the same, according to guitarist Angus Young, who was sick of people making that claim. In fact, we've made 12 albums that sound exactly the same. And if a band changes their sound, fans complain about that too. You can't win. Animals will abandon their babies if you touch them. That if you swallow gum it stays in your stomach for 5 to 7 years. This obviously is not true. While it'll probably make you constipated if you swallow a lot of gum very frequently, it goes through the body just like everything else. Edited it to say gum. F autocorrect. Swallow him? I swear I hate autocorrect. I changed it to gum 3 different times. I have to ask, why does your autocorrect change it from swallow gum into swallow him? How many times have you typed that for it to get into your autocorrect? XD. The first one was Jim. The next one was fur. So your guess is as good as mine.